How entrepreneurs can generate more traffic from social media. Traffic is vital to online sales and business growth because no matter how good our offer, our product, or our services are, if no one ever sees it, it ultimately doesn't matter. And so it makes logical sense that generating web traffic is going to be one of the top challenges that entrepreneurs list when they discuss their business issues and problems. In fact, if you check out surveys or any sort of data points on what people say are their biggest problems as small businesses and entrepreneurs, generating traffic is usually right at the very top of the list because everybody recognizes that if we're able to generate that traffic, we can generate sales, we can generate leads, and that is the lifeblood of our business that keeps it running. Now, of course, we could easily solve this if we have a big budget, because if we had a budget, we could just buy ads. We can buy all the traffic that we want, and that makes it really easy. We can get it fast, we can get it, quickly, and we can get it pretty much as we want. But if we don't know what we're doing with that, or if we aren't making sales from all that traffic, we can spend a lot of money in a hurry and really lose a lot. And to begin with, most entrepreneurs really just don't have a big budget in the first place. So the question becomes, if we're in that situation where either we don't want to invest the money in paid traffic or we don't have the budget in the first place, how can we generate traffic without spending a fortune in a way that's actually reliable, that'll really work, and can actually generate qualified, targeted traffic that's going to lead to sales so we can grow our business? So let's talk about how to do that using social media, because one of the greatest inventions in the internet age, as a blessing and a curse really, is the social media platforms. They have all of their negatives and downsides for sure, but they're also democratizing the ability to get traffic, because if we have a message, if we have something that we want to be able to say, and we have a way to get that out there now. So we're not beholden to financing or a giant budget or some of these other things that we might have needed to do in the past. So let's talk about some effective ways that entrepreneurs can use social media outreach to be able to generate traffic. So the first is obviously, very, clear to everybody, and that's create valuable content, right? I mean, obviously, if we have social media presence, the only way that we're going to get any attention, the only way that we're going to draw in our audience or people to want to see what we have to say is by having valuable content in the first place. So we understand our market and we understand who our audience is, and we create content that's going to be valuable to them. That's going to be step one, but that in and of itself is not enough. There's a lot of people that are doing that, and they find that the growth is just too slow. If we aren't in a very, very targeted niche, just creating content on its own is not generally going to be enough. But when we're talking about valuable content, what we mean is consistently posting high quality and engaging content that provides real value to the audience. So the two keys there are the quality, but also the consistency. So the one challenge we have is we might create really good content, but it's hard to do that. So we just don't post it very often. The other challenge is we can be posting all the time, but the content isn't valuable enough to engage people. So we want to be able to do both. We want to be able to have a content calendar where we're actually posting enough quality stuff over and over and over again. But unfortunately, even still, that's just the foundation. So we want to do that, but that's not going to be enough by itself. Now, what do I mean by quality content, and what could we do for that? Well, it could be an educational blog, right? We can do educational blog posts, we can do articles, we can do entertaining videos and images, we can do industry insights, tips, behind the scenes looks at various things like our business or whatever. We can do customer success stories. Any of that kind of thing that is valuable is going to give people a reason to follow us and want to visit our website. So that's going to be really important. And those are all strategies that we can certainly employ, and we can use a variety of different content to bring people in. And so that is going to be an important piece for sure. But that in and of itself, unless we're in a very tight niche, is going to take a long time to generate enough traffic for it to make sense. So there's a bunch of other things we want to do as well on top of that. So we want to start with that. But then in addition to that, we want to optimize our social media profiles. This is going to be a really big step as well, because we want to make sure that our social media profiles are complete and that they're optimized. A lot of people create an account and it's difficult to add in all the extra stuff. And so it's got maybe a photo and a little bit of information, and then we start posting. Well, the thing is, when people engage with our content, most often, if they don't know who we are, they love to click on our profile, see what we're all about. So that is a great opportunity where you have a captive audience looking at what you have to offer. And if we have the right things put in place, we have the ability to hook them and potentially get greater results. So it's worth the time to make sure that we optimize those profiles so we can get maximum results. So what do I mean by optimizing the profiles? Well, using relevant keywords in our bio and description, right? So we want to make sure that whatever audience we're going after, we're using those keywords in our bio, our description. We want to include links to our website or whatever other landing pages that we're using. If we have a lead magnet or something like that, a lead capture page, we want links to those things so we have an opportunity to get some click-throughs and some results just from people looking at our profile. We also want to use really high quality profile images and cover images, because it's really important that it looks really good. If you think of it this way, if you owned a store and you had a storefront that you wanted people to walk in order to buy stuff from you, you would make pretty sure that the front of the store looked good, that you had good signage, that you had attractive samples in the window or whatever else. Same idea, except in the online space. We want to make sure that we've got stuff that is going to draw people in when they click on our profile. If it's some low-res image of us and it's, blurry and fun, we don't look professional. We don't look like we're serious. So it hurts our credibility and it hurts our ability to get people to follow us. Now, these don't need to be, and there's an important distinction here. It doesn't mean that they need to be, posed studio-based photos. That's not necessarily what I'm talking about. Sometimes authenticity and just being real is fine. So you could be laughing, you could be in a, informal situation. It's not like you need to be dressed up in a formal wear or anything like that, but you want the quality of the image itself to be really professional. If your personality is quirky, so you want the image to be quirky, that's fine. But just make sure that the quality of the image is really high. We want to keep the information up to date. Whatever changes to our life or our profile or our business, we want to make sure we go in and we update that stuff. So we want to put that on a calendar to check back monthly and make sure that we've got all the current things updated. So that way, it's always up to date and it will help people find us and drive traffic to our site, because as people come through, they'll see it, they'll be engaged with what we've got, they'll say, wow, this post was interesting, the profile looks interesting, let me see what else they've got. Click through to the website. And so it's we need to view this as a funnel effect, where we're going to get, a certain amount of people to see the post. A certain percentage of them are going to click on the profile. A certain percentage of them are going to click through. We don't want there to be a breakdown in any part of that flow. Another thing that we want to do, and this is vitally important, but obviously, it does take time and energy, is to engage with our audience. A lot of people create social media profiles, they start to post content, which is great, then they actually start to get people engaging, and all they do is broadcast. They don't ever engage. I'm guilty of it. I've been so busy that I've gotten to a point where I was posting stuff and people are responding and saying things, and I'm just leaving them hanging. If you want to come across as genuine and engaged and interested in building a following, then we need to actually engage and build the following. So when we have people that engage with us, we want to engage back. This does a number of things. Not only does it reinforce our relationship and start to build it with that prospect, but in addition to that, it shows everybody else who's watching that we are responsive, that we're engaged, that we're dialed in. There are tons of social media profiles and accounts that are dormant or that are posted and then just left. So when people see that there's live engagement, it's going back and forth, we're responding to what people are saying, it incentivizes other people to follow us and to engage as well. And that's a really powerful thing. We definitely want to be doing that because that's where all of this stuff comes from. I remember one story that I heard Gary Vee talk about one time when he was doing Wine Library TV, and he was relatively unknown at the time. He would get emails about recommendations for wine. Oh, Gary, like what wine should I have with, chicken parm on Friday night or whatever? I'm having friends over. And Gary said part of his job when he was trying to build his YouTube channel, Wine Library TV, was that he went on there and he literally spent hours a day responding to emails because he reached back out to every person who took the time to reach out to him. So tip your cap. I mean, that's a great strategy. He understood the importance of not just putting content out, but by engaging with your audience, you build a two-way communication that's far more powerful than just having a stage to be able to speak from when no one who can ever, interact with you back. And so have conversations, build relationships, respond to comments, respond to messages, even if they're snarky ones, right? We can still engage with people. I mean, if someone's a total troll, we can ignore those. But if it's, something where maybe they disagree with us, that's fine. Disagreement is fine. Look, sometimes you'll meet your best friends in life over an argument. It's somebody you didn't like initially, and then once you get to know them, you're thinking to yourself, wow, why did I ever dislike this person? Same idea. If someone disagrees with you and is emotional about it, the fact of the matter is you've struck a chord. There's a connection there. So why not see where it can go? So respond, ask questions to spark discussions, right? Those are all really important things that we can do. Now, another thing that we want to do is we want to run polls and surveys. So this again gets back to the whole engagement piece. You're starting to see a pattern where social media success is not just about putting a bunch of content out there and hoping that it resonates with an audience. It's more complex than that. But we don't need to make it complicated. It can still be really simple. The general rule of thumb is put good stuff out there and just engage with our audience. That's it. So run polls and surveys. We want to share and comment on other people's content, right? So it's super valuable if we start running polls and surveys because it engages people. It's asking for them to respond back. It's saying, hey, I've got an idea, or I'm looking for feedback, or I want your opinion. And when people start to do that, that tends to have a viral effect where then other people see that they're commenting and they want to do it and they want to do it. And so these could be really great ways to engage people in a simple, low touch, low effort method. People aren't going to answer a 12 question survey with all long answers. But if it's click yes or no, click on the picture you like best, whatever it is, you're going to get a lot more engagement from that. Sharing and commenting on other people's content is another great way to engage. A lot of times, we want everybody to engage with us, but if we aren't engaging with them, it's hard to always ask other people to go first. So one of the great strategies we could use is to follow all the people that we respect or that have an audience that we'd like to tap into and engage with their content. We're not asking them for anything. We're not going after that particular account holder or profile and saying, hey, you have 10 million followers, I have 0. Why don't you retweet my stuff? Or why don't you share my stuff? Or they're not going to listen, obviously. What we need to really do there is engage with their content, try to elevate theirs, help them help their audience with feedback and additional information and links and stuff that we can help with, asking for nothing in return. And if we do this over time, what happens is it builds up our own credibility and relationship. And eventually some of those people will come around and say, this person has been following me for a long time. They're constantly adding value to my audience. I think am interested in checking them out. And this actually, will happen. But these are long-term strategies. So the important thing is to use this as part of our overall strategy. But the sooner we get going with all this, the sooner we're going to start to get results. So it's important that we get this ball rolling. We want to also join relevant groups and communities. So in Facebook or Meta, there are groups, there are communities, there are forums online. Believe it or not, forums still exist. If you type in whatever niche you're in forum, what you'll find is there are a lot of times groups out there, and sometimes they're still active. Now, obviously, how active it is what matters. It's not the total number of members. If there's no activity going on, it has 1 million members, but the last post was 18 months ago, the community is dead. But if you are in a group, even with 100 people, and everyone's, on a daily basis engaging, that's a really vibrant group. You want to get in there and start again, not asking for anything, contributing, helping, looking at other people's posts, offering advice, all these other things. And then it comes back to that profile thing that we talked about. What will happen is when people realize, wow, this person actually has really good insights. Let me see what they're all about. They click on our profile, boom. Now they come to our profile, they see our links, they click through. So this is a great way to do it. And invariably, once we're doing this, people will start to ask us about ourselves, and that gives us the open door to share. So we aren't going in with a push strategy where we're trying to push all of our stuff on everybody. We're actually going in with a service mentality where we're trying to help other people. And as a result, laws of reciprocity mean that eventually that will come back to us, right? And so that's really important. That engagement is going to build trust, and it's going to encourage people to check out our business. So that's really important. Another element of social media that we can use is hashtags. We want to use them strategically. So we can research and use relevant hashtags. There are a bunch of tools out there. You can just search for, the best hashtags or whatever, and it'll pop up some tools. That can expand our reach because industry-specific hashtags, trending topics, location-based tags, branded hashtags, all of those things, the way hashtags work is they're basically like an index, right? It's basically like almost like a phone book where we put in the hashtag and then anybody that's searching for that will see our post. Now we might be pushed all the way down, but we're going to be connected to that hashtag. So if they scroll through it, we might be an account they would otherwise never see because we're brand new or we're small, but because we have that hashtag and they search by that hashtag, they're going to find us. So that will help new people discover our content, which is very, very powerful. Another strategy we can use is to cross-promote across platforms. So obviously everybody knows there are a lot of different social media platforms. Now, we don't necessarily need to be or want to be on all of them. You can see what the demographics are and the target markets for each if you just do a search for it. And you can see that, this audience is a little younger, this audience is a little bit older. You can see the various elements of it, and you can decide based on your market where your people hang out the most. My personal recommendation is I always want to do more than one social, but I'm not worried about doing them all. It's very difficult to be able to do them all and do them all effectively, at least in the beginning. We can start by doing 2, 3, something like that, maybe 4. And then as those start to grow, maybe we can, delegate to somebody and we can add, other platforms to it. But initially start with a more core group and then share your content across multiple social networks to be able to maximize the visibility. And the key there is to adapt your content for each platform. So it isn't about creating brand new stuff for each one, but it's also not about just posting the exact same thing over and over and over to every platform. While the audiences are different, there will be some overlap. So we don't want to just totally duplicate it, but we can use the same core content. If we shoot a video, we can break it up into pieces, put, a reel here, a reel there, and they're all slightly different. If we do images, we could take multiple takes and then we could post them different. If we make a quote, we can use multiple backgrounds for it so it at least looks different, things like that. And obviously, mention your other profiles on those so you can grow your following. And that will expand the reach and drive more traffic. Another thing that we can do is run contests and giveaways. Again, it's all about engagement. If we host social media contests, and these don't need to be for big prizes, people love the idea of a contest, even if the prize is simple, a $20 Amazon gift card. You're still going to get a ton of people that are interested in doing it just because they're getting something. It's the fun of the contest. It's not necessarily the prize itself. We want to boost engagement and followers. So, we can do things like photo and video contests where you have to submit something, caption contests, like write me the best caption for this, trivia or quiz contests, whoever can answer this or get the highest score on the quiz, tag a friend giveaways. Contests can rapidly increase reach and website traffic because they're viral by very definition. And they're fun. Everybody likes to do them. So once you start to get a little traction with that, it can really, really start to work. Another thing we could do is leverage influencer partnerships. So there are going to be other people online that have a similar audience or an audience we'd like to tap into. Now, if they're really big and we're really small, those partnerships we're not going to be able to access right away. So we need to make sure that we stay within a reasonable amount to begin with. If we have a small following, we want to go after smaller influencers first, and then we can work our way up. But we can reach out to people and we can ask them, we can say, hey, we've got, a similar audience. I'd love to do a guest post, or provide them the guest post and say, listen, if you find value in this for your audience, I wrote it for them. If you'd post it, I'd be, super grateful for that, or, super flattered or whatever. Product reviews. So if they have a product or service that they're selling, we can do a review and send it to them and say, we give you full permission to share this. I mean, talk about a great way to get exposure. And who doesn't want to crow about their own product? If you review someone's product and you love it, and you give them a review that's glowing, who wouldn't want to use that to promote it to their audience? Now you're getting in front of their audience just that fast and easy. So that's a really great way to do it. Mentions, you want to elevate their content and hope that you can get that to work. And you can share these things. You can do swaps or reciprocals or whatever else, depending. You can also do co-created content. So you can work with other people and you can say, hey, listen, can we create this together? This is my expertise. It looks like you're really good at this. Why don't we put this together? I think it'll be great for your audience. And I'll share it with mine also. So it's sort of a win-win. And so we just have to be willing to give enough to make it make sense. So if we're the smaller person in the relationship in terms of impact and influence, we need to be able to offer more. I'll do 90% of the effort on this project. I just want you to, finish it off, basically endorse it and then send it. I'll write the content. I'll shoot the videos, whatever it is. And so we can strike up these deals. You'd be surprised because everybody's always looking for great content. So if we have that and we can offer it, we have something real to offer. We're not just reaching out and saying, hey, I see you have a big following. That would really help me a lot if you promote my stuff. Can you promote it? Nobody's gonna do that. So it has to be a value exchange. Affiliate partnerships. If we have products, they have products. If there's an affiliate program where we get a percentage or they do, then again, we can promote their products. If we can make some sales for them, they're going to recognize who we are. Whether or not we get an actual commission off of that, if we have products and we want them to do it, we can go out to them and say, I'll give you an affiliate partnership with this of X percent. If it's somebody that's really attractive to us, we could give them a higher percent, and there could be a base level and then a higher percent for special influencers. But influencers can really expose our brand to new audiences. And then we also can supplement in paid advertising. We can boost posts. We can do a little bit of targeted paid ads. Obviously this idea is more about the social media organic element, but we can boost things a little bit for a few dollars. It's not a gigantic budget, but if you have posts that are actually working, then you can boost those. They'll go to similar audiences, so the odds are they'll work there too. Much better, much more cost effective than just trying to run random ads and hope that they work. And the final step to bring this all together is just to make sure that whatever we're doing, we're tracking it, we're analyzing, we're optimizing it. We want to track our key metrics because it's a work, it's a job. It takes time to do this. And so we don't want to be too trigger happy. We want to make sure we're willing to put in the 90 days to get it started. But at the same time, we don't want to just keep working and not looking at any of our results, because what we're looking for is trends. We're not looking for a set result, but we want to know that we're getting better and better over time and that the results are growing. So we do need to track our key metrics and adjust our strategy if need be accordingly. So there are built-in analytics tools on all the socials. We can monitor website traffic sources. There's Google Analytics, A/B testing of various different things. And that'll allow us to identify the top performing post methods and everything else. We can optimize and lean into the stuff that's working, and we can shy away from the stuff that's not. By implementing these strategies consistently, we can effectively use social media to be able to generate significant traffic to our websites and be able to grow our businesses doing that. So the takeaway here is that generating website traffic and traffic to our landing pages and offers for that matter as well is obviously a cornerstone of digital marketing and online success. We have to do it. We can use a variety of strategies to do it for sure. And we should all include social media marketing as one of those pillars. While those platforms are really conversational platforms and not transactional, if we take the right approach and we invest the time in getting engagement, then we could build the relationships, we could build our reputation, we can build our credibility, and that will ultimately lead to more traffic and buyers. And the greatest thing about it is that our results typically just get better and bigger over time the longer that we keep going.